Okay, I think we're.
Hi, Simon.
Shalom.
Shalom. How you doing today?
Just to know you're on candid camera.
I'm in Boston because yesterday I had to go into Boston. They did baseline tests to have, this is where you are without all the rigmarole I'll do in 2 weeks. And it was just a long day. I got that here a little after 7. And I just thought, I couldn't go to Rugby last night. It was like, so I was poked and prodded and all the lovely things they do to you. EKG, EVG.
It's not a fun way to spend the time.
It isn't. And also driving in and out of Boston.
It's very stressful.
It wasn't too bad, but anyway, I was here.
When do you hear stuff?
The they're going to call me next week to say if they're seeing anything that worries them. And then 2 weeks, Thursday and Friday, 2 weeks from now, is when I go in. And it's an overnight. And they'll just run everything on a Friday. So then they should be able, several days after that, after consultations amongst themselves, determine what our next move is going to be.
But on the good side, it is consultation among themselves. In other words, there's many heads that get together and work together, and that's
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, when they found the tumor tumor, my primary care physician talked with a local neurosurgeon and with two colleagues in his practice to determine what to do. And they decided that the best place for the surgery was Mass General. That is one of the leaders in that kind of transfer is head of department there. So
they get good people.
they really do.
I'm
So
thankful you have access to such good care.
I've been impressed because when I was in North Carolina, I was having horrific migraines, and I was told to see a neurologist. I saw the neurologist, and his thing was, "Are you drinking too much coffee?" "I don't drink coffee, I drink tea." "Are you drinking too much tea?" "Well," and then stand with one foot up and touch your nose. And after 3 appointments with him, I said, "Do you think it would be worth our while maybe to do a scan of my head?" "Oh, no, I don't think anything's wrong there." And it took 2 appointments when I moved up here with my primary care physician, who said, "We've got to do scans of your head." I said, "Oh, they found it."
Boy.
So one of my cousins, she's a bit of a money lover. She said, "Sue the doctor down in North Carolina for malpractice." And it's like, what? By the way, this is a cousin who has sued 9 or 10 doctors already and it's gotten nowhere. Has lost more money than she's ever in her suits.
What a waste of energy.
She's a heavy set girl, and she had gastric bypass, and they told her you have to have this very, very strict diet. She didn't do it. And she ripped open everything, had to have the surgery done again, and then she said the doctor never gave her everything. And when they went to court, the lawyer said, "Here's all the papers that every patient who has the surgery gets.
Yep.
So you know you can eat this, you can't eat that. You eat small quantities." Right? Well, they used to be able to come into family gatherings and, "Oh, look, there's a chicken over there." I stepmother on the shoulder used to say, she's an eating machine.
Sorry, the visual is really.
She was infamous in the family for that.
Oh, boy. Oh.
On that note.
I did a very story for one of my aunts at my bar mitzvah that.
I look forward to it. Okay.
Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha Anei be'emet yishecha ברוב חסדך אני באמת ישך. 63 Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorati Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorati Elohai neshama shenatata כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני לפניך אדוני אלוהי ואלוהי אבותיי ריבון כל המעשים אדון כל הנשמות ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר נשמות לבקרים מתים. And on the same page, let's greet each other with Hareini mekabel alai ditzat harorei ve'ahavti kamocha hareini mekabel alai Nitzat haborei ve'ahavtam ve'elachamecha I guess this one is the transition from first person singular to first person plural,
Yeah.
right? We come in, it's Elohai, Nishamash, and it's got the be, my soul, and I'm just here, me. And now we're here to love our fellow like we love me. and now most of the prayers go to first person plural. I just read a book called Relational Judaism, and this must be the theme song of it. Page 65. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sakinu hafnin b'yom u'b'layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher asani b'tzomo. Still some first person. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chori. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Matir Asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zokei Kirkufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa bi kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanichni mitzadei gaber. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanotei ayahet Torah. And I guess here's where we go from I to we. On page 65, 6 lines up from the bottom. Strengthen our desire to do good deeds. Teach us humility that we may serve you. May we find grace, love, and compassion in your sight and in the sight of all who look upon us this day and every day. Grant us a full measure of loving kindness. Praised are you, Adonai, who bestows loving kindness upon God's people, Israel. Page 83. Baruch she'amar b'hayahaolam, Baruch ha'oser b'reshit, Baruch ha'omer ve'oseh, Baruch ha'ozer u'mekayem, Baruch Mirachem al haaretz, Baruch Mirachem al habriot, Baruch Mishalei Sachato Lireav, Baruch Yom Netzav, Baruch Bahodeu Shema. Yachid Cheolim Melech Meshubach Umefoar Adei Ad Shemo HaGadol Baruch Adonai Melech Nulal Batishpacho. Let's go to page 85. Seated if you like, keep standing if you like, whatever you want. And the last four lines. Memorize it. Last four lines or last two lines? We'll see. Romemu Adonai, Romemu, Romemu Adonai, Romemu, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu, V'hishachavu. Last two lines. Leharkacho, V'hishachavu, Leharkacho, V'hishachavu, Leharkacho, V'hishachavu, Leharkacho. Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. One more time. Romemu Adonai Romemu 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 Adonai Romemu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Eloheinu Romemu V'hishtachavuu Leharkacho, V'hishtachavuu Leharkacho, V'hishtachavuu Leharkacho, V'hishtachavuu Adonai Eloheinu Romemu.
Nice.
All right. How about page 7 in the middle? Torah Adonai Trima, Torah Adonai Trima, Torah Adonai Trima, Meshivadash, Edus Adonai Emana, Mahtima Tepsi, Bekudei Adonai Sharim, Bekudei Adonai Sharim, Bekudei Adonai Sharim, Mesachelei, Mitzvahs Adonai. Ne'iras einayim, Yiras Adonai Torah, Yiras Adonai Torah, Yiras Adonai Tehorah, Omer. Same page, last two lines. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, Adonai. Trying to think of a melody for her, since we're a small group here, we should sing a few
Sure, why
different
not?
songs today. Looking at 92.
Okay.
Just trying to remember some Hodu Hashem. Simon, do you have a melody that comes to your mind for this? No?
No.
This is a real weird one. Here we go. Hodu Adonai Kitov, Kili Olam Chasto, Hodu Eloheha Elohim, Kili Olam Chasto, Hodu Adonai Adonim, Kili Olam Chasto, Le'oseh Niflot Galot Badov, Kili Olam Chasto. Let's just do that lullabies. Yai lai 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 lai. Kili Olam Chasto. Yai lai 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 lai. La 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 la. The second part. Kili Olam Chasto. Kili Olam Chasto. Kili Olam Chasto, 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 bum 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 bum. Fifth line. Le'oseh hashamayim b'tmuna, Kili Olam Chasto, Le'rokah ha'aretz al hamayim, Kili Olam Chasto, Le'oseh orim gedolim, Kili Olam Chasto, Et hashemesh le'mshelet hayom, Kili Olam Chasto, Kili Olam Chasto. Kili Olam Chasto, 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 Kili Olam Chasto. Bum 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 bum. ולא קבים לממשלת בלילה, כי לעולם חסדו, למכן מצרים בקוריהם, כי לעולם חסדו, ויוצא ישראל מתוכם, כי לעולם חסדו, ביד חזקה ובזרוע נטויה, כי לעולם חסדו, 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 כי לעולם חסדו. That's fun. I think it's an Israeli tune. I think it was Israeli Army Radio or whatever used to, the Army choral group used to sing it. It's really lively.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, you know, the
I haven't sung that in years.
It's a great melody. The beginning sounds like a Debbie Friedman tune. The sentence is a tree of life.
It does sound like that.
Yeah,
You're right. Like, it is a tree
Yes.
of life to them, hold fast to it. It does sound, you're right, very similar. I never put that together. Okay.
Who stole from who? No stealing, no stealing. All good, right?
Inspired.
yes.
Page 94. And let's go to the lyrical Tov Lahoda. Tov Lahoda. Tov Lahoda. And 6 lines up from the bottom. Tzadik katamar Yifram, Tzadik katamar Yifram, Tzadik katamar Yifram, Tzadik katamar Yifram, Ke'erez balvanon yizker, 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 Ke'erez balvanon yizker.
I was just looking, the sun is really coming out. Our singing, I think, has something to do with it.
Okay, well, good.
Just an opinion.
Good to know. Just an opinion. All right, page 100. And is it okay that we're singing some different melodies today?
Totally.
Okay, so
Totally.
here's another one which is probably the first melody I ever learned to this, and I hope you know it. It's page 100, Shabbat Shalom. Page 100, the section in the middle of the page at the box.
That's about it.
Page 100, the middle of the page at the box.
Got it.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, B'tzil Tzilei Shammai. Hallelujah, hallelujah, B'tzil Tzilei Truah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. B'tzil Tzilei Shammai. Hallelujah, hallelujah. B'tzil Tzilei Truah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Is that a new melody for someone?
Yeah, for me, it's
new
new. I never heard it. I've never done. Nice.
It's so interesting how songs, this was like the traditional melody 90 years ago when I was a kid. And now this is a new melody for us.
It's like fashion, it always comes around. It comes back.
Yeah.
I think the other ones, the newer ones, capture more of the upbeat
I think you're right.
sense than this one does, but I still like it. It's still,
It's a nice melody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's some nice harmonies to it. Okay, page 104. Nishmat Kohai Tivarech et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai, who neither slumbers nor sleeps, you stir the sleeping, give voice to the speechless, free the fettered, support the falling, and raise those bowed down. You alone do we acknowledge. And let's continue the last paragraph together in English on 104. From Egypt you redeemed us, from the house of bondage you delivered us, in famine you nourished us, in prosperity you sustained us. You rescued us from the sword, protected us from pestilence, and saved us from severe and lingering disease. To this day your compassion has sustained us. Your kindness has not forsaken us, never abandoned us,
Adonai, our God.
Page 105, in the middle. Shochenan maharam v'kadosh shemo. B'yisharim titara, u'b'divrei tzadikim tifarach, u'b'shol chasidim tisroma, u'b'kerem kedoshim tikadosh, u'makalos v'nevot amecha beit Yisrael. Shekein chovat kol ha'yitzurim lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, lehodot, lehalel, leshabeach, lefael, leronein, lehalel, levarech, lehalel, kales, al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot, David Yishai, Abdecha Meshichecha, Yishtarach Shimcha, Ad Malkeinu, Shir Shachar, Berachot behoda'ot me'ata ve'ad olam baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol batishpachot el hahoda'ot adon haniflaot habocher b'shirei zimra melech elchei ha'olamim. And let's continue on page 108 with El Adon. And I just want to point out something. The fifth line, Tovim me'orot shebara Eloheinu, good are the lights, the heavenly lights that God created. Yitzaram, God formed them, B'da'at, B'vina, U'paskel, with knowledge, with understanding, and with wisdom. B'da'at, B'vina, U'paskel. We may come to that later on in the service. Gentle.
Now, just, is there a word of the day, not to put you on the spot,
Is there a word of the day?
based on it?
All right, let's go to let's see. Nidava. It's like a gift. A gift that we give from our hearts fully, just voluntarily. A contribution, a gift. Nidava. I don't know how many times we're going to come to it, but at least in the Torah reading we come to it. Okay. El Adon al kol ha'ma'asim baruch u'mevorach befi kol neshama gdolo v'tuvo ma'olei olam da'at u'tbuna so b'vimoso Hamigah Atayot HaKodesh V'neda B'chavo Ala Merkavo Zechut U'mishor Lifnei Christo Chesed V'rachamim Lifnei Chodo Tovim Me'orot Shebara Eloheinu Yitzaram B'da'at B'bina U'paskel Koach U'gvura Natan Bahem Li'oz Moshe B'kerev Tevel Meleim Ziv U'Piki Noga Na'ezim B'chol ha'olam Tzemechim B'tzeicham B'sasim B'noam Ozis B'keim Ha'retzon Kom Kam Me'yer B'chavo Notzim Lishmo Zola Verina L'Zechem Ha'chutzo Karo L'Shemesh V'Yizrach Or רעה והיא צורת הבנה שבחרון עמו כל צבא מעלה תפארת וגדולה צרפת לאופנים בחיות הקודש לה 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 Page 109. First paragraph together in English. To God, who completed the work of creation on the seventh day and ascended God's glorious throne, God robed the day of rest and beauty, calling Shabbat a delight. God ceased all God's labors on Shabbat. That is its distinction. The seventh day itself hymns praise to God. A psalm for Shabbat. It is good to proclaim Adonai. Tiparach Moshe Shevach Maaseh Yadecha Val Meorei Or She'asita Yefa'aru Chasela. Page 110. Tiparach Turenu Akeinu Vego Aleinu Borei Kedoshi. Three and a half lines from the top. Kulam ahulim, kulam berurim, kulam giborim, v'kulam osim eima u'biraretz ha'olam. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשלחים, ומפארים ומעריצים, ומקדישים וממליכים. את שם האל המלך, הגדול הגיבור והנורא, הקדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ובנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך הארץ כבודו. בפנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מן הסים ומצרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ואל ברוך באימו תיתנו למלך החי וקיים. זמירות ימינו ותשבחו גשמיו כי הוא נבחר. פועל גבורות עושה חדשות, במלחמות זורע צדקות, מצמיח ישועות refumos, Atihilos, Adonai Niflaos, Hamekadesh, Tutubo, Bechol Yom Tamid, Maaseh Bereshit, Ka'amur Le'oseh Orim Dali, Ki Le'olam Chasdo. Or Chadash Al Zion Ta'ir, V'nizkeh Kulanu Me'ela Le'orot, Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'oros. Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu, Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu, Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu, Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu. Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu, Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu, Ahava Rabba, Ahavanu, Ahava Rabba, As we're about to come to the Shema, let us continue with the middle of page 111, V'ha'er einenu b'toratecha, enlighten our eyes with your Torah, because the Shema is from the Torah, and we want those lessons not just to be words, to enlighten our whole lives. V'ha'er einenu b'toratecha, v'daber b'heinu b'mitzvotecha, Ve'yachem le'havavenu le'ahavu yir'at et shemecha ve'lo nebosh le'olam ba'ed ve'lo nebosh le'olam ba'ed Shem Kodshecha Hagadol Hanaran Batachnu Nakila V'nisnecha Nakila V'nisnecha Vishuatecha Avienu V'shalom Me'arba Kanfot Ha'aretz V'tolichenu Kol Neviut Le'artzenu Ki El Po'el Yeshua Anu B'chartami Yeratanu L'Shemcha HaGadol Se'emet Le'hodol Lecha U'le'yachecha U'yachecha B'yahad Baruch atah Adonai Haboker Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael נפשך ובכל נפשך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשלחתך ובקומך וקשרתם נרות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובמשענך. Adonai Elohechem Amen. B'dor b'dor hu kayam u'shmo kayam v'tisalachalut u'malchuto ve'emunato la'ad kayam. Page 113, the last 4 lines. And Meshatahu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Malkeinu Melech Avotenu Galaleinu Goel Avotenu Yosreinu Sur Yeshuateinu Potenu Matzileinu Me'olam Shemecha Ein Elohim Zulatecha Yisrat Avotenu Let's sing another song we haven't sung in quite a while. Page 114. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines down on the Hebrew side. 5 words in, a call and response. Also in the middle of the line. And then we'll do Nichamocha, and then we'll probably go into a silent Amida unless a few people show up between now and then. So that's why we're taking a little more time. Plus, I love this song because of the message as well. God humbles the proud, raises the lowly, frees the captive, and redeems the meek. God helps the needy and answers God's people's call. Alzot, alzot, shibechu ahuvim, Beromemu, I do one word, you do two. Venatenu, Zmirot, shirot, v'tishpachot, berachot v'hodaot, lamelech el chayam, Ram Benisa, Gadol v'nora, Mashpil ge'im magdi hashifali, Motzi asirim, Ufode anavim, Be'ozer dalim, Be'one le'amo Yisrael, Be'et shavam elai, Be'one le'amo Yisrael, Be'et shavam elai. Tehilot, Le'el Elyon, Baruch Hu Mevorach, Moshe Israel, Chanu Shira, L'simcha rabav yaruchu lahu. Yachad kol avodim lichu ve'amru Adonai Imod le'olam va'ed. Sur Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Goyim lecha Yehuda. Okay, let's take a look at the Torah. Page 554. So it starts with Moses bringing together the whole people of Israel and saying, we need all this stuff. A shopping list of everything that's needed to build the tabernacle in the desert. So if you look 553 from verse 10 on, we're going to need the tent, its coverings, planks, bars, posts, ark, poles, cover, table, and so on. It's really like a shopping list of everything that's needed to build the tabernacle.
In the desert.
In the desert, okay? And it goes on, 554, the labor, the oil, the this and the that. Okay. So now let's go to verse 20, where what the result is. Okay, someone want to take us from verse 20 on, read some English?
Okay, so the whole community of the Israelites left Moses' presence.
By the way, I just might point out that the whole community of the Israelites in Hebrew is called Adat B'nai Yisrael, which is our Hebrew name. Just to point that out, okay?
Wait, we have one singular
What?
for everybody?
Say it.
We have one singular Hebrew name for everybody?
No, sons of Zion. Oh, B'nai Yisrael, oh, the people of Israel. No, I'm sorry. Forget what I just said. B'nai Tzion would be our Hebrew name,
Right.
not B'nai Israel. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Never mind. Correction. Thank you for that.
So the whole community of the Israelites left Moses' presence, and everyone who excelled in ability and everyone whose spirit moved him came, bringing to the Lord his offering for the work of the tent of meeting, and for all its service, and for the sacral vestments. Men and women all whose hearts moved them, all who would make an elevation offering of gold to the Lord, came bringing brooches, earrings, rings, and pendants, gold objects of all kinds. And everyone who had in his possession blue, purple, and crimson yarns, fine linen, goat's hair, tanned ram skins,
If you happen to have a few tanned ram skins at home, yeah.
and dolphin skins, brought them. Everyone who would make gifts of silver or copper brought them as gifts for the Lord. And everyone who had in his possession acacia wood for any work of the service brought them. And all the skilled women spun with their own hands and brought what they had spun in blue, purple, and crimson yarns and in fine linen. And all the women who excelled in that skill spun the goat's hair. And the chieftains brought lapis lazuli and other stones for setting, for the ephod, and for the breastpiece, and spices and oil for lighting, for the anointing oil, and for the aromatic incense. Thus, the Israelites, all the men and women whose hearts moved them to bring anything for the work that the Lord, through Moses, had commanded to be done, brought it as a free will offering to the Lord.
Okay, let's stop there. What do you notice about this section? What things stand out to you? Bring, bring, bring. The word they brought is continuously repeated. It's probably this, I'm guessing that this parasha has the word they brought, they bring, more than any parasha in the Torah. I'm not positive about that, but I think that's likely. So, bring, bring, bring. Everyone brought. We're on page 554, 555 in our Chumashim. And we're looking at the part where it talks about the people. Moses said to the people, bring stuff for the tabernacle, to build the tabernacle in the desert, and bring, bring, bring. People brought. What else do we notice about it? No grumbling here, by the way. What else do we notice about it?
All the women with the finest ability to weave, or everything weaving all the things together.
Yes. This was not the men's show.
It's the women's.
And it consciously says several times, and the women did this, and the women brought that, and the men joined the women in doing some of the stuff, and bringing some of the things. This was a community effort, a full community effort. Women played an incredibly important part in this. Usually we don't find it so clearly that women are mentioned as having bringing stuff and doing stuff. Not here. It's very clear and it really stands out. Okay? So we see people brought stuff. We see women as well as men brought stuff. Women had possessions that they could bring and they were happy to share it, and they had skills that they could bring and share it. What else do we notice from this section?
I'm seeing that they're pretty specific. I mean, he commanded what they should bring, and they're bringing what he commanded them to bring. But
Yeah.
the list seems, I'm looking at both the lists, and it's like check here, check here, check here, check here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty specific, and they're making sure they get what they were supposed to get.
Right.
But there's something about that though.
Okay.
It says here,
Okay.
at least twice in just this little part here,
Okay.
is that, God is asking men and women whose hearts move them to bring. So they're not just bringing stuff because they're being told, they have to be moved to do it. They have to feel it in their hearts.
That's where I was looking at the word of the day,
Oh,
Nidavah,
Yes.
a free will offering.
Yes. Nidavah is the word for the day. If you want to see what it looks like in Hebrew, look on page 555, the end of verse 29. Heviu b'nei Yisrael nidavah l'Adonai.
Yeah.
The people of Israel brought a nidavah, free will offering, a contribution of the heart to God. Here they didn't have the word of the heart,
That's
but
our gift of the heart.
gift of the heart. Have we ever heard that expression?
Yeah.
He just doesn't want them to bring, he wants to want them to bring it.
Well, he
He
doesn't.
wants them
but
to
it's
want
got-
it.
No, he just asked them to bring it, but they responded enthusiastically. Whereas the people had given Moses a fair amount of grief in the past, not this time. Not only did they do it, but they didn't do it grudgingly. They did it with a full, whole heart. If we look at verse 21 on verse 554, Vayavo kol ish asher nisa'o libo, and every person came whose heart lifted him. It came from the heart. V'chol asher nadva rucho oto, and every person whose spirit made him willing to do this nidavah. Moses put out the request, but Moses did not give a haranguing fundraising speech. He didn't. If you read it, it's just, folks, we need this stuff. Can you bring it?
Didn't have to strong arm.
He didn't have to strong arm. He didn't have to say your name's going to be on the plaque over here. Whatever It just happened. The people responded with their whole hearts, with their whole souls, enthusiastically. This, I think it's so important that was added. Because finally, we weren't the easiest people to deal with in the desert, you know? And I think this is a turning point for us. That this was coming, our hearts were in the right place. It was coming out of, we not only we can do this, we now want to do this. We're enthusiastic. We've gone through trauma. They went through the trauma of the golden calf not so long ago. Right?
Yeah.
And the relationship with Moses and the Jewish people at that point was not so great. With us and God was not so great. But now, instead of bringing gold for a calf, we're bringing gold enthusiastically for a mishkan. The change is huge. And therefore I think we ought to see the Davalibo, free will offering. This was something that Moses said, this is what we need, and people just responded in a way that was so beautiful and powerful.
All right, so here's a controversial thing.
Good.
All right.
I wouldn't want it to be.
No, well, it's clean. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're talking about a community at this point of men and women being included, and we're talking about our hearts.
Yes. Yes. You want to say just 2 more sentences on that?
Well, I won't talk about Congress or anything, but I do think that having women in the mix and having them be present in the reading and present in our community and standing out in such a way in what we just read, I think that women's influence can have more heart.
This is inclusive, and when we feel inclusive of everybody, maybe we can all feel more. And let's go a little bit further.
I think too is that this is a community that's starting to say, well, I think the whole thing to me speaks to, we've been through all of this, we've been through a lot, like you said, but now it's time to get down to business of building us, building our community, building up us together. And here's, because this is what they're doing. This is building a community, a real, it's not just them now wandering and getting themselves into trouble with God and with Moses and doing all kinds of things that seem very controversial to everybody. But now it's time, okay, we've been through all of this, we've learned our lesson, we're going forward. Now let's get down to business. Now let's really build our community.
Yeah.
This is really that step forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's read 2 more sentences. We're on page 555, just verse 30 and 31. If someone would read those.
And, sorry, go ahead, Barry.
And Moses said to the Israelites, see the Lord, and singled out by name
Bitzalel.
Bitzalel,
Bitzalel.
son of Uri, son of Hur, the tribe of Judah. He has endowed him with a divine spirit of skill, ability, and knowledge in every kind of craft.
Great, thank you. So we notice that there's someone who's going to be doing this, that Moses picks out, it's Bitzalel. And then I just want to skip to verse 34 for a second. At the same page, near the bottom. He, meaning Bitzalel, and Oholiab, son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, have been endowed with the skill to do any of the work. Blah, blah, blah. And it says what the work is. And again, on chapter 36, verse 1, let then Bitzalel and Oholiab and all the skilled persons whom the Lord has endowed with skill and ability to perform expertly do all this stuff. Okay, so a couple points I want to make about this. It doesn't always say what tribe someone comes from. when we're talking about people in the Torah. But here, it does say, both for Bezalel and Oholiab, it says what tribe they're from. And one of the commentaries I read says, this was also on the theme of inclusiveness. Bezalel was from the tribe of Yehuda, Judah, center of the country, a powerful tribe, one of the leading tribes. Oholiab was from the tribe of Dan, way up there in the north. Not one of the most powerful tribes, not in the center. And the comment that this commentator was making is that the leadership also was chosen from different, as it were, classes. It wasn't just the prestige tribe that was chosen, it was also on the lower socioeconomic side too. Again, inclusiveness. This was a project of the whole Jewish people, not only the wealthy. Yes, we're part of it. It talks about the princes bringing stuff, the leaders, but it was everybody, all classes, everybody. The other thing is, it talks about the quality, the characteristic that Oholiab and Bezalel brought.
It's good to do a lot of things.
Yeah, but the word that's used here is Chacham Lev. Page 556. Every person who is Chacham Lev, who has a wise heart, Asher Natan Adonai Chachma U'Tevuna Bahema, V'Da'at La'asor et Kol HaMelechot. Anyone who God has given wisdom and understanding and later knowledge to do this work. Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. When we sang El Adon earlier today, it talks about God creating the lights and by extension the whole world with wisdom and understanding. And now we are creating, humans are creating wisdom and understanding. So some of the commentators also point out that there's a parallel to creation of the world with wisdom and knowledge and our creation of the tabernacle. God created us. God only had to speak, didn't have to nail it all together, but speak with wisdom and knowledge. Eladon tells us. And now we are using our God-given wisdom and knowledge to create a home for God in our midst. It's like a parallel creation. It's a human creation, God's gift of the universe to us, and our making a place for God in among all of our people and in our hearts, through using skill, wisdom, knowledge. Very interesting. And this parallel is not, I'm just not making this up. There clearly are parallels between creation of the world and our creation of this. Who is the first guy who's going to do this? Bezalel. What does Bezalel mean? God. What's Bezal? But it's like you're
in the shade.
In the shade, in the shadow of God, in the shadow of God. Just like God created the world, Bezalel, the person who's asked to build this Mishkan, is in the shadow of God. Is not God, but in God's shadow, making this too. Very interesting, the parallels there. Okay. So, anyone want to say anything else about this Torah portion in terms of what you see?
If everyone will give a certain amount of money.
Nitza, how do you read my mind? How do you do it? Exactly what yes, please. That's what I'm
Then
doing.
they gave up from their heart that he has to say, stop it, don't give anymore.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's
yes,
right,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
I
So
didn't
let's go
know
to two things that Nitza's pointing out, both
Yes.
of which are very important, I think. One is, on page 556, Someone wants to read from verse 2, that whole section. Someone want to read verse 2 through 7?
Henry, I have good voice.
All right. Go for it. Okay, I'll even look in your direction so you can hear.
Yeah.
Moses then called Bezaleel and Oholiab and every skilled person whom the Lord had endowed with skill, everyone who excelled in ability to undertake the task and carry it out. They took over from Moses all the gifts that the Israelites had brought to carry out the tasks connected with the service of the sanctuary. But when these continued to bring free will offerings to him morning after morning, all of the artisans who were engaged in the tasks of the sanctuary came, each from the task upon which he was engaged, and said to Moses, the people, I wish I was Ira in this case. The people are bringing more than is needed for the tasks entailed in the work that the Lord has commanded to be done. That was just my Ira. Moses thereupon had this proclamation made throughout the camp. Let no man or woman make further effort toward gifts for the sanctuary. So the people stopped bringing. Their efforts had been more than enough for all the tasks to be done.
Imagine that. A building campaign that went over the top without guilt, without anything. People kept bringing it. They didn't say anything about plaques. There were no plaques in the thing. And enough of folks, you did a great job. Stop.
Enough is too much of it.
So also the commentators on this point out how this clearly was not for the aggrandizement of the builders. I mean, they could have taken more and put it in their pockets. They didn't. Moses could have taken more and put it in his pocket. He didn't. This was this was a gift of the heart. People acknowledged it and didn't take advantage of it.
Well, that's kind of what we talked about with our duties, you know?
That's, I was just thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about.
And what can make it work or fail, is, and it was a risk doing this gift of the heart with Jews here,
Absolutely.
that if people don't feel it, then they're not going to give it.
Right, and there's honesty and trust.
And there's honesty and trust. It's a risk. And I think what I also take out of this Torah portion is how Moses has changed. Remember in the beginning when he was there with his father-in-law Jethro, and Jethro said to him, you're burning out, you're doing everything, you're seeing all the people, delegate, find other people who can meet with people who have problems, and you take the ones that are most difficult, but involve the rest of the people. Moses, right off, designates Bezalel and Oholiab. He doesn't say, I'm going to learn all about construction, I'm going to learn all about this thing, I'm going to run the show. He sets leadership for it, he does say this, but then he delegates again. He finds other people who can do this. It's no. He makes this the project. At least, wonderful things happen. Moses gave the people space to act like free people. They hadn't acted like free people too much before this. But they did this time. And they did this willingly. And it's just, to me, I love reading this part because it shows, I think, how both leadership and the people can either be at odds with one another and or not. And I also think that when leadership really gives people real responsibility, doesn't hold it, but gives people real responsibility that what they do matters, more often than not, they'll rise to the occasion. It's not that we ask people to do too much. It's sometimes we ask people to do too little.
Yep.
It's sometimes we don't give people enough.
No, it's the same thing in organization. Once you delegate to people, the organization grows. And if not, if you're a one-person show, slowly it's go down.
Absolutely, because no one feels it's their thing. Here, everyone felt it was their thing. The women felt it was their thing. The men felt it was their thing. Whether you were from the tribe of Dan or the tribe of Yehudah, you were there and part of the process.
But I wanted to say something, isn't God delegate Bezalel, it's not Moshe.
Uh,
Moshe to delegate,
To delegation.
ויאמר, I just had it.
Yeah, it does say the Lord has singled out by name Bezalel, it's true,
Mhm.
yes. He and Oholiab, he added, but it doesn't say that God designated Oholiab, I don't think, but whatever. Yes, it does say God had delegated, it's true. But certainly Moses didn't fetch about it, he was very happy to do that and even to bring someone else on the job. We're looking about page 555, 556, and just at the wonderful response, the response of Nidava, of voluntarily giving of the heart and of the spirit for how the Jewish people responded to building of the tabernacle.
You know, if you take Egel HaZahav, the
Golden calf,
golden calf, they gave also from their house,
yes.
you know.
Yes.
I disagree. I think they
Oh,
actually.
well, let her finish.
Go ahead.
No,
No, I think that they gave, but I think it was out of fear. Moshe had gone up and
Moshe disappeared.
he had disappeared, what's gonna happen to us? Let's build a calf so we can go back into slavery. Take it
So
before
we
us.
have a God that we can see in our eyes.
Right, and that is the whole aspect of fear. Here, it's like they're lovingly
This
giving.
is my second point.
Oh.
If they gave it because Moses was so angry at them, what they did with Egel HaZahav,
Mhm.
that this time they turned around. You know, and they said, okay, you know, you brought us another Luchot HaBrit, you know, and maybe we had to change it. And
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
there is a lot of things, a lot of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there really are.
and yes, and clearly it says with the golden calf, they brought their gold, and here again, it repeats, they brought their gold, just like in the story, but it's a whole different thing now, it's a whole different thing. And also maybe, there's another thing about leadership that we can learn here, that on the one hand, the leader has to entrust the people with a task and invite people to be part of it. But on the other hand, if the leader's too absent, it doesn't happen. I mean, I think about Sinai, maybe God called Moses up there, it wasn't all Moses' fault, but the leader was gone and hadn't yet really built enough trust and enough whatever to be away with it. The people, they still needed that support. I want to look at, there's another part of the Torah that we read today, because it's one of the 4 special Torah portions that lead up to Passover. And I'd like to look at it with you for just a second. It's on page, well, it's Exodus chapter 30, verse 11. Let's find the page in a second. Yep, Exodus chapter 30, verse 11 is where it starts. 30 verse 11.
521. 521.
521. And if someone would read on 523, actually, verse 11 through 16.
Oh, okay. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "When you take a census of the Israelite people according to their enrollment, each shall pay the Lord a ransom for himself on being enrolled, that no plague may come upon them through their being enrolled. Everyone who is entered in the records shall pay a half shekel by the sanctuary weight, 20 gerahs to the shekel, a half shekel as an offering to the Lord. Everyone who is entered in the records from the age of 20 years up shall give the Lord's offering. The rich shall not pay more, and the poor shall not pay less than half a shekel when giving the Lord's offering as explanation Expiation. Oh, as expiation for your persons. You shall take the expiation money from the Israelites and assign it to the service of the tent of meeting. It shall serve the Israelites as a reminder before the Lord, as expiation for your persons.
Okay, thank you. So this is another time where we're asked to bring, this time money, not just objects, money, a half shekel. And again, it's everyone, but it is just the men, by the way, in this one. And it was kind of a way of taking a census. It was also a way of gathering money for the for the temple. And this is a special reading that's added as we approach the month of Av, Adar, or second Adar, which is the month that Purim is in. Because this was time to gather money, so there'd be money for Purim, especially for Passover coming right after Purim.
What's expiation?
I was gonna ask what that word.
It's Kippurim. It's a way to forgive sins.
Oh.
Interesting that this one is everyone should bring the exact same thing. Rich and poor bring the same. In other words, we're not valued by our status, whatever. This in a sense is regressive, but it's everyone. No one's going to.
It's sort of.
The point is, compare this to the what we just read in the other part of the Torah reading, right? This is quite different. It's
You were limited.
yes, much more limited. Yes, much more specific, limited, only money. It's not a huge amount of money.
And you have to do it.
Yes, it's a way to count, and it's still egalitarian in a sense, but and I guess I find it interesting that these two readings come on the same Shabbat. Yes, a shekel is like say a silver dollar or something. It's a amount of a weight of money, weight of silver. Shekel means weight, a certain weight of silver. Okay, good question. So that. Sometimes we are moved to give a nidavah, a wonderful voluntary offering that really is a gift of our heart. That's coming because it's something we treasure, we want to do, and we're excited and enthusiastic about it. That was the other kind of giving that we read the first time. Sometimes no one asks these guys to be enthusiastic, but sometimes we just have to come up with half a shekel. and both are needed on enthusiasm and the right moment and the right thing. We also have to have a base for our community too. And I'd say that both of these are here. I want to share one more piece. Since we're not going to read it for today, so I wanted to blah on a little more. And that is, why half a shekel? If already we're asked to bring something, so bring a whole shekel. Why half a shekel? Anyone have a thought?
So that the poor people, it's accessible to everybody.
Okay, it's accessible to everybody. That's good. Any other thoughts? So let me read you one thought, which I don't know. I think this came later rather than, but it's still like it. And I want to share it with you. B'Shem HaChacham Harash ben Alkabetz, from this wise person, the rabbi, son of Alkabetz, Shimon Zichron Libracha. I heard Shehu lehorot et bnei Israel yichus achdutan. That the reason for the half shekel is to teach us about the value of our unity. Uval ya'aleh alev ish mehem shehu nifrad v'nivdal mechaveiro. It shouldn't be that someone in their heart should feel that they're different from, separated from their comrades, their people, others. Ki Kol echad hu rak chetzi. Every one of us is incomplete. We're only a half.
Oh.
By ourselves alone, we're only a half. Uvehit chavruto im acher mi Yisrael naaseh echad shalem. And when we are joined with another Jew, then we are made one whole unit. Alone, I'm a Jew, but I can't be a full person. We live in community. We live in one another. We're incomplete alone. Therefore, everyone brings a half, and we complement and complete each other. I think that's just a beautiful teaching.
Got one question here.
Yes.
Why expiation? Because it's just so mentioned in that paragraph so much, and it's not preceded really by a lot, unless I'm missing it, nor is it followed by a lot.
It's a very good question. I'm not sure of the answer, so I'm going to give you a guess. And I'm really not sure of this. I think this was to take a census of the males over a certain age who are of fighting age. And so they might risk dying in war, they may have killed others. So it's a way of protecting them in a way, and if they've done something wrong, to make atonement for it, especially in matters of war, those things can happen. But I'm not positive of that answer.
That's what
But
I
thanks for the
learned
question.
many years ago.
What?
That's what I learned many years ago.
Well, then it's gotta be right. Okay,
I'm upset.
so we all bring our gifts, we all bring our half shekel, and we also bring our enthusiasm and all those things together, make a community, and make a holy place for God in the community and in our hearts. That's the message. And the other message is that we're delighted Brielle is here today.
Yeah, she got a big job in it. Rock on.
You remember the Enkel Hagel?
Yes.
Okay, page 182. Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Enkel Malkeinu, Enkel Moshiachenu, Eloheinu, Adonenu, Enkel Malkeinu, Enkel Moshiachenu. Nogel Eloheinu, Nogel Adonenu, Nogel Malkeinu, Nogel Moshiachenu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshiachenu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshiachenu, Atahu Shetiru, Avoseinu, Lefanecha Avinu Yishabeach Ladon HaKol, L'Oseis G'dulad Yotzei Breshit, Shalo Asanu Kibayeh Haratzo, Velo Samanu Kimishachot Adama, Shalo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, V'Gor Aleinu Nivol Amanam, Ananu Kodim, U'Mishtachadi U'Modim, Lifnei Melech, Lachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Shamayim B'Yosei Haaretz, U'Moshe Yikaro B'Shamayim Yimahal, U'Shchina Suzo, B'Garden Elohim, Eloheinu, Eino, Emes Malkeinu, Emes Ulaso, Akasu Beso, Ki Adonai hu Elohim, Hashamayim v'ma'ah, v'ha'aretz v'ha'aretz, mi'itaz eino. That's okay. V'toratacha Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'eman v'haya Adonai, v'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom hahu, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad. I'm going to read the names of the members of the congregation whose yard sites we recall today and say Kaddish for. And also some of us may be here saying Kaddish, not for someone here, someone else. So after I read the names and before we start Kaddish, if anyone chooses to, and there's absolutely no necessity of doing this, if anyone wants to say who they're saying Kaddish for, maybe a sentence or two about their relationship to them, or here's one of these names and wants to say something about them, it'll just make this, I think, a little bit more present for us. So I'm going to offer that option before we start the Kaddish, and again, no pressure whatsoever. But the names we recall on our list: Saul May, Raymond Meckler, Henry Levin, Bertha Berman, Harry Bloom, Abraham Reiner, Louis Rubin, Joseph Levin Epstein, Florence A. Costin, Sandra Lipson, Anna Rachel Marks. If anyone wants to say just a quick word about who you remember.
Well, it's my father-in-law and my father's yard site this week. So, and they're so emotional in here, right? They both, well, my father-in-law died shortly after we were married. But there was just such a warmth, such a good feeling when I first met him in the short time that I knew him. And he was the best man at our wedding. So it was a real joy for him to be, and Steve was married before, and he really was happy to see our wedding, be at our wedding, and for him, when he was up in Holyoke, appreciated being there. And my dad was isolated, but just every in ways that are astounding. And after my mother had the stroke, and I really had a chance to get to see him once or twice a week and see him as a person instead of a dad. Everyone should have that kind of opportunity to meet your parents that way, because you don't necessarily get that. And it was such a special experience. So he moved from being my father, which he always was, to being able to see somebody who made choices in his lifetime and why he made those choices. It's so special. My yard site I think of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, nice. And not forgetting, okay, fine. So well, thank you. This בני רבה, העולם יברח ירוסי, ימליך מלכוסי, בחיי חום, ימי חום, בחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לעולמי עולמיה. יסברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויסדר, ויסרב, ויסלל, שמי קודשה בריחו. ואלה מכל ברכסה ושירסה, תושבחסה ונחמסה, תמימן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במעמד, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. And do we have any announcements?
Shabbat shalom to everyone here that trekked out in this snowy weather and those at home. I don't have too many announcements, but at 9:30 a.m. in training. So if anybody is interested in learning about tefillin, how to put on tefillin, for that training, Saul will be doing that at 9:30. And if you have tefillin around your house and would like to bring it or let someone borrow it so that they can also do it during the training, that would be most helpful. And we would love. I know I'm going to do it. I'm kind of excited to learn how to do that. I've seen it all my life, but never did it like on myself. And I've really never watched someone really put it on either. I've always seen it, but I've never really watched the process. So that'll be a good training tomorrow. Right after the tefillin training is the gathering, the planning of the renewal service. Those people that are planning the renewal service are gathering to meet tomorrow right afterwards to continue that process of planning for the next renewal service, which is, Saul, can you help me with that date?
I don't know, it's in April, I don't remember it.
I think it's the 13th.
Is it
We'll announce it
the
anyway.
13th?
Shabbat Hagadol.
Yeah, Shabbat HaGadol. I'm sorry that I don't have it written down right today. But anyways, if you're interested at all in being a participant in the planning portion of that particular service, then we've been told that anybody is welcome to stay and participate in that. The other thing that is going on in High Gear at this point is the play, and we have play practice on, I think we have it on the 10th again. So on the 10th, if you're interested in breakfast, come at 9:30, play practice is at 10. The next one after that is on St. Patrick's Day in the morning again. So we'll have to help those who are familiar with getting out of the city to how to do that, but I'm sure it'll be fine getting here. It's to get out. That's because some of the roads get blocked off for the parade, but some of them don't. So it's just a couple of little tricks of getting around. It's not hard. Okay, so that's that, and then the Hamantash and baking and Megillah reading is Wednesday, March 20th. So at 3:30, we're going to be baking Hamantashen. At 6 o'clock, I believe, is between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, we're going to have a very light dinner that we'll prepare. And at 7 o'clock is the Megillah reading. And then right after the Megillah reading is eating Hamantashen.
So we have a full afternoon of activity here in High Pier on that day, and it'll be really fun. So I always love quorum, so it's always a lot of fun. So hopefully all of you can make it that day and just enjoy all of the festivities. And at the itself, that was something that we've been tossing back and forth, but I do believe that we had settled on the date of March 24th, which is the Sunday following Purim. And so just be looking for more time. I believe it will be in the middle of the afternoon at 2-ish. That's what, 2 was what Saul's Sunday, March 24th, would be there. And this musical will be so, it is a blast. We are having so much fun putting it together, and I think everyone is going to enjoy it just as much as they enjoy musical. This year, it's a musical. We do, we are going to celebrate that the 16th, I apologize. That's going to be on the 16th, the same day as the road race, I believe. So we'll have cake and bagels and lox and some special things that Joan will have for us to put out. I think she might not be here that day, but I will be. And others will be here to help celebrate that. So thanks for bringing that up.
Sure. Chala Havara.
Chala Havara is the second Friday of every month, and that will be this coming Friday, I believe. And yes, Friday, March 8th, and that will be happening at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. is the start of that. And it's been wonderful having homemade challahs downstairs. We usually, what usually happens is everyone makes enough of the dough to make some to take home that day, but also one to leave behind. And there's even enough to bring to people who might be home or infirmed, and that's been very successful, and we've all been enjoying the great challah that's coming from that. The bounty is plenty.
That's another nice gift with that.
That is, it is.
Okay, so let's conclude with Don't Know on page 187. Does have a request for a tune? Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yesh Nasav, V'chetz Kol, Azay Melech Shemon Nivra, Adon Olam, V'yacharei Kichot HaKol, Levado Yimach Nara, Adon Olam, Vehu haya, vehu oved, vehu yeh b'sifara, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yesh Nasav, V'chetz Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, V'ein Sheni, L'hamshilo L'hachbira, Adon Olam, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ma'oz V'hamitzvah, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yesh Nasav, V'chetz Kol, Azay Melech Shemon Nikra, V'hu Ori, V'chai Go'eli, V'tzur Chavri B'eit Zara, Adon Olam, Nisi Umanosli, Merachkosi B'yom Ekra, Adon Olam, Adon לעת נסע, בחפצו, אזנה לשמו נקרא אדון העולם. כי רוחי, באסתי שם בעירו אדון העולם. ואם רוחי כביאתי, אדון אני ולא עירו אדון העולם. אדון העולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נסע בחפצו, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון העולם. Shabbat shalom, Yasher Koach. Yasher Koach. She didn't know she was being called up for that. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat.
And Maggie and I are, so absolutely. My boy,
Yeah, that. I know, I saw that on the radar, it sounds crazy.